all of those collections on a network license are going up in price by 33%. If Andy Eggnog wants me to stop using them, then he should really come up with a different alternative than to just say, no, everyone's got to be a locked license.
You are watching TFI.
Greetings, salutations, welcome to TFI, indeed. Yeah, multi-user licenses, network licenses, NLM, FXLM, call it what you want, mate. As of May 6th, 2021, Autodesk are officially, formally, and no longer selling, totally retiring the multi-user network license model. It's gone, dead. As of May 6th, 2021 and onwards, the only licenses that they will allow you to subscribe to or renew will be single user / named access licenses. So over the next year, from May 7th, 2020, there's going to be a trade-in program to get everyone off of those multi-user licenses, which is quite the job. It's quite the job. So, yeah. So there's a bit to talk about, how I feel about it, how they're doing this, because it's not something that you can just do this. Given that over the last 20 years, Autodesk have only ever had two licensing. I mean, they've had like their enterprise models, but to the general consumer base, they've only had two licensing models, standalone, so single user, network license, or multi-user, sort of the same thing. And they're completely retiring one of them, so like everyone was either on one or the other. It's not an easy thing to do. So it's going to affect a lot of people. Me being one of them, the company I currently work for, we have 150 network licenses. Every company I've ever worked for in the past has had network licenses, global network license servers. So I understand everybody who's got to go through this. I understand what they're facing. It's not like I'm sat on the fence kind of looking down on it and kind of guessing. But this video, I understand there's going to be a lot of people who this just doesn't affect. I get that completely. It's only going to affect people who work in kind of bigger companies, enterprises. But if this doesn't affect you, that's fine. Hey, you can just look on and laugh at how the other half, who've had it so good for so long, have now just been pushed off the gravy train and they've got to join everyone else. But hey, that's how it is. Right, so what I'll start with is I'll start with Autodesk's announcement video. So this is the public announcement video that Autodesk are releasing to tell you what's going on and just to let you know that this is happening and kind of what's being put in place. So we'll start with that.
Autodesk is moving completely to plans that are based on people to provide you with an improved experience. Starting in May 2020, we're offering new plans for businesses of all sizes. Plans that aren't based on serial numbers, but on actual people. By focusing on named users, these new plans will unlock new benefits for your business. Instead of employees facing downtime while waiting for a license, they get dedicated access. You'll have usage data to make the most of your investment. Your licenses are managed by Autodesk. And for your users, this is just the start of a much more relevant user experience across collaboration, learning, and convenience. On May 7, 2021, we're retiring all maintenance plans and subscriptions with multi-user access in favor of the plans for people we mentioned earlier. Got a renewal coming up? We have trade-in offers to help you transition at a price similar to your current rate. If you have a network maintenance plan or a multi-user subscription, beginning May 7, 2020, at your first renewal, trade in each of your seats for 2 subscriptions for 2 users on a named user plan at a similar price you're paying today. For example, if you have 20 seats, you can trade them in and get 40 subscriptions for 40 users at a similar SRP you're paying today, then renew at your ongoing discount until 2028. If you have a standalone maintenance plan, you can trade in 1 maintenance seat and get 1 standard subscription for 1 user at a similar SRP to what you're paying in 2019 for maintenance. If you need more administration, reporting, and support features to manage your larger team of users, you can choose to upgrade to the premium plan or upgrade to an industry collection and get a comprehensive selection of tools to help you meet any project challenge. Stay tuned for more specifics on these plans and trade-in offers in May 2020. For more information, visit the website.
Andrew, you changed the video, haven't you? You've changed and edited that video. So basically, right, I'll not go into it, but over the last couple of weeks, behind the scenes, we got to see that video, and it contained some very questionable statements. I got in touch with Andrew and a bloke called Carl White, who's the VP, the Vice President for Business Models. And in this video, what I'm doing right now, I was about to rip this video to shreds. I've just played it there and they've taken out the bits that I was about to rip to bits. Oh my God. Fair play. I'll not go over it now because that's fine. Okay, so that's the video. That's what they've announced. So in a nutshell, right, from May the 7th, 2020 to May the 6th, 2021, they're going to be doing a trade-in program where you can take your network licenses and then you can trade one network license for 2 named user licenses. So if you've got 50 AutoCAD network licenses, you'll trade them in and you'll get 100 single user AutoCAD licenses for the same price. And that price is locked for 8 years. 100 Inventor network licenses, you'll get 200 standalone Inventor licenses. 100 Vault Pro licenses, 200 Vault Pro licenses. Price locked for 8 years. They're also doing this plan thing. I'm not a salesman, mate. I don't know what the prices these are going to be. It's not on me. It's not a me problem. But the standard plan's got a buy button there, so I don't know if that's something you buy, whether that kind of comes with all the license. I don't know, mate. I have no idea. I know what the premium plan price is pitched at. I don't want to give that out because it could change. It's going to get discounted by resellers, so different people will pay different prices. It will be 3 figures, lower 3 figures though. It's a rough deal, and I have communicated this to Autodesk because it's not like you buy one plan for your entire contract. You have to buy a plan per license, which means if you've got 100 licenses, you've got to buy 100 plans, 100 3-figure plans. That's a rough deal. Bearing in mind, and I've communicated this to them, if you've got 100 collections, that's a premium package. By all counts, it's a premium package. And then they're expecting you to buy a premium plan for your premium package. And you're adding like 100 times 3 figures onto the price of 100 times the price of your collection. They're taking away the network licensing model and the cost savings you had from sharing licenses across multiple people, then adding this plan on. They've got to be careful with that. Really do have to be careful with that. So I've strongly suggested that they bake the premium plan in with just the collections. That would go a long way to cushioning the blow. But whether they do that or the need to kind of build revenue takes over, I don't know. That's a them problem, not a me problem. Something else to be really, really mindful of is that when you're doing a renewal of your multi-user licenses, the trade-in window is May 7th to May 6th, 2021. You have to take advantage of the 2-for-1 offer on your first renewal. So if your renewal for your current contract is September 2020, you have to take that 2-for-1 offer in September 2020. You can't go, well, the like multi-user doesn't retire till May 2021. We'll get another 6 months or something out of the multi-user licenses, and then we'll trade them in next year. You can't do that. If your renewal falls between May 2020 and 2021, you have to renew. You have to trade them in that window to get the 2-for-1 offer, unless you're on a 3-year plan or something like that. If you're on a 3-year plan and your 3 years expires in sort of, I don't know, September 2022 or something, then that's fine. It's when it's your first renewal. You have to take that 2-for-1 offer. And if that renewal falls outside of 2021, you're going to get 1-for-1. So that's not communicated very well in this video. Whether it's being communicated to the resellers so that they can communicate that to you, I don't know. I've been on a couple of calls so far and that wasn't communicated to me. I learned that actually through Carl, the VP of Business Models, and I was like, whoa, you're saying what now? you probably need to filter that down and get your people to tell that to the people, because that's not getting pushed through. That's really important. But I'm telling you that if you've got a renewal coming up between May 7th, 2020 and May 6th, 2021, you need to take that 2-for-1 offer on your multi-user licenses on that first renewal. With regards to the 8-year fixed price, there will be incremental price rises over the 8 years. There always is inflation-based price rises, but the 2-for-1 fixed price will go for 8 years. I've seen people complain about what happens in 8 years. Is it going to go up by 200%? Am I suddenly going to start paying for 200 licenses when I was only paying for 100 networks? I mean, who knows? 8 years in the future, I'm on Autodesk side there, mate. It's not reasonable to expect anyone to forecast 8 years in the future and make guarantees and promises. The software you're using right now might not even exist in 8 years' time. You might not work at the company in 8 years' time. Your company might fold in 8 years' time. Autodesk could fold in 8 years' time. Who knows? It's 8 years. It's a long time. So I think 8 years is kind of, you can't say fairer than that kind of a length of time. It's an 8-year price guarantee for your licenses, and that gives you a long time to figure out what you're doing with the licenses. Have you got too many of them, right, mate? So I think that's it. I think those are the facts. It is a very confusing situation, because there'll be a lot of people who are going, hang on a minute though, but wait, I've got a network license and I'm sharing it between 5 engineers. I've got an AutoCAD license that I share between 5 engineers and I'm getting 2 in its place. What am I meant to do? What you're saying can't be true, mate, because I'm using a network license for that, and what you're suggesting doesn't correspond to my situation. That is it. You're going to get 2. That sucks for you, mate. Unfortunately, that's how it is. On average, Autodesk say that for every network license, their stats and analytics show that every network license has roughly 2 people using one network license, and that's where the 2-for-1 came in. So if there are people out there who are sharing one network license between up to 4, 5, possibly even 8, 9, who knows, more people, infrequent users, there is no alternative in place. There is nothing there. It'll be a case of the admin will have to go around assigning people in the Autodesk account. If Jim wants to use the license on one day, he'll have to go into the account and assign it to Jim on Tuesday, and Fred on Wednesday, and Terry on Thursday, or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, there is no alternative. That is what it is. So that's the facts. That's what's happening. It all starts on May 7th, 2020. That's when the trading program starts. The announcement is today, so you can start planning it. End of an era, really. So I guess with that, I'll get into what I think about it, like my thoughts and feelings on it. I'm kind of torn with it, to be honest. Like, I'm in the middle. I want to be, this is greedy Autodesk, and they're taking away the network licensing model, and they're not putting anything in return. It's so anti-consumer, and there is an element of that a little bit, but at the same time, I see the bigger picture. I do see the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is that they're trying to modernize their business model to be more like, let's be honest, right? Microsoft, Adobe, the big players in the software industry who have licensing absolutely nailed. Those guys don't have network licensing. They don't have text-based FlexLM with OPT files with timeout values in, with text dumps for status reports, and borrowing licenses that just flaky, services that bomb out now and again. They don't have that kind of thing. They've got a seamless, serial number free, cloud-based licensing provisions, and it just works. And that's where Autodesk want to get to. And by the looks of it, FlexLM and the network licensing model is a casualty on the way to getting to that place. It's a case of, if you want to make an omelette, you got to break some eggs. I think that's it, really. It's a case of that. It's like, look, it's going to hurt. A lot of people are going to get annoyed at this, but I think the 2-for-1 offer is probably going to appease most of the clients. Our analytics show that that's going to cover most use cases. The fringe users who are using more than 2 people to one network license, that kind of sucks, but hey, omelette and eggs. But in the end, that's where we're trying to get to, and I'm all for that. I am all for that. The way they go about it is going to be really, really, really important, which means that they can't, they can, but they need to be careful to not take away something that was objectively pretty efficient, a time saver for a lot of us. Like, for example, for myself, I would spend less than an hour a year managing the network license servers. Generate a license file through the Autodesk account, put the license file on the server, and I would do that once a year. Maybe add in a couple of new licenses once every 6 months, maybe if we buy some new licenses, a couple of contracts finish on different dates. Maybe less than an hour a year. To take that model away and to put something in place that now means that I've got to now manually manage users and type in user accounts and click boxes to assign people to use to products, and a new user started the company, I've got to add him in and tick this box and track who's using what. And if that becomes an hour a week or an hour a day, that's not going to go down well. And you better believe I'll follow this video up with something that corroborates that. I'll damn right well reinforce that, because that's not good. They need to get some kind of Active Directory integration set up. That needs to be like how Microsoft have it, where you create some kind of group within Active Directory, within the domain structure, and then you can assign a bunch of users into that, which then says that these guys are Inventor users, these guys are Vault users. And then when new users join the company, IT create them an account, drop them into that group. They're just assigned automatically. The CAD manager shouldn't have to be manually copying and pasting email addresses into the Autodesk account and then taking usernames and deleting usernames when people leave the company on a regular basis. That's not very good. The same goes for the likes of the reporting tools. It's not cool to expect someone to buy a premium plan for reporting tools. An enterprise like Autodesk, really, their software should come with reasonable reporting tools out of the box. They've never had them in the past. It's always been an elephant in the room with network licensing. It's like, where's the reporting tools have been terrible. You had a text dump with FlexLM, like an on-demand text dump as to who's using what at a single point in time, but it wasn't reporting as such. But this dashboard that they say that you get access to is something which should be useful. The marketing video that we've just seen doesn't really go very far to make the people who are losing the flexibility of network licensing feel all that much better about losing that flexibility. Because don't forget, everyone who bought network licensing bought it for a specific reason, and that reason was the flexibility. It was the ability to buy a single license and to share it across people who didn't really need to use it that much. All of these benefits that are being touted for named user access, it's in a lot of cases it's just not going to apply to these guys. That's one of the main beefs that I had with this marketing video, and it's one of the beefs that I raised with Andrew and Carl. It was like, look, you're trying to comfort the guys who are going to lose network licensing by pushing and selling the benefits of a licensing model that they didn't want in the first place. They had two options, single user access or network licensing, and they chose network licensing because that was best for their business. And you guys have come along and said, hey, you didn't want this one. What you really want is you wanted single user access, and this is why it's so good. But nothing's changed in the businesses of those guys who are using multi-user. Like from May the 5th to May the 6th to May the 7th to May the 8th, their business hasn't changed. Their users are still doing the same jobs. So you guys coming out with a video to say, hey, it's great that you get named access. Hey, it's great that you get single sign-on. Hey, it's great that you get this, that, and the other. It doesn't change how they're using the software. They still need that flexibility that they needed when they first subbed to the software. So I think they've kind of approached this possibly in the wrong way, and I think they're pushing it and promoting it possibly ways that could be better. But I don't think there are better ways. That's the issue. They're just pulling they're pulling a license model because they want to get to an end goal of just being a cloud-based serial number free company. But that's not really a reason that's going to appease people. They have to come up with better reasons. I just don't think there are any. But the ones that they have come up with don't really cut the mustard. Yeah, that's why I'm not CEO. That's why I'm not CEO. But yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting. It's gonna be a difficult year for the resellers, because if Autodesk can't come up with good logical reasons as to why they're doing this, and to explain to an angry engineering customer who rings up and says, why can't I float a license around? I've been doing this for how many years? Why can't I do this anymore? If Autodesk can't explain that, then the resellers are going to have a really hard job of doing that. Let's be honest, right? The CAD world is one of the only industries that are still using this model. Think of the likes of like ANSYS, they use network licensing, they use FlexLM. Think of Autodesk, they use network licensing. But beyond the engineering and CAD world, there's very few disciplines that still adopt this model. Everyone else has just moved on. It's one of the last industries to still use this model. Many would argue that I don't care. I like it. I want to keep it. But I think the world is just moving on, and it'll just be. It's the headphone jack. It's Autodesk's headphone jack moment. You know, Apple came along and Apple were like, "Hey, we're going to be courageous. We're gonna get rid of your headphone jack. You don't want it anymore. We don't like it anymore. We think we can do better, and we're going to be courageous, and we're going to get rid of it." And I think that's what Autodesk are doing with the network licensing model. They're just like, we just don't want it anymore. We don't want you to have it anymore. We think we can do better. It's going to hurt. Some people aren't going to care. Some people will care, but over time, you'll probably get used to it. So I've got some additional bits and pieces of information to support this. There's a lot of information that I've been given that I can't share. There's got some information that I can share. But I have asked Autodesk to give us some additional statements. This is from Carl White, VP for Business Models. So I asked him straight up, that marketing video being a little bit beating around the bush, it doesn't really go very far to explain why you're actually doing this. So think of me as just someone who's just like, no nonsense. Tell me why you're retiring multi-user licenses. Cut the nonsense, cut the fluff. Why are you doing this? And what Carl said is, we are retiring multi-user licenses because we can't fulfill the promise of subscription for customers on the old serial number-based technology. By moving to named user, the users of the software get a more relevant experience, collaboration across devices, better support, customized help, tailored learning paths, etc. Owners and administrators get usage insights to make more informed decisions. Now, after speaking with Carl on the phone for quite some time, that's a very diluted and legally approved statement. There's a lot of other things that he would have liked to have added into that, but that's unfortunately what he has to, like a filtered corporate statement. So that was the best that I was going to get, which is fine and fair enough. In addition to that, he said, we have looked closely at the composition of license types for our customers, and the vast majority, nearly 90% of customers who have multi-user licenses also have single-user licenses. So this means that they are already assigning users. Also, since the introduction of subscriptions, the multi-user to single-user license ratio has trended dramatically towards single licenses. So what he's saying there is, since the subscription model was launched and became exclusive, the majority of customers have trended towards single-user licenses rather than multi-user licenses. I know exactly what the ratio is. I can't say, neither can Carl, but he said it's trending towards single-user licenses. So this might seem like there's going to be a massive rug pulled under, billions of people. Possibly not as bad as you think. But I think the statement about nearly 90% of customers who've got multi-user licenses also have single-user licenses, I don't think that's really any indication that the multi-user licenses love single-user licenses and they love naming users and they want to. I'm really hoping Autodesk aren't stupid. They're making it sound like all these multi-user guys, they've got all this baggage and they're seeing the light. They've bought these single-user licenses and they're seeing how great the life can be, but all these multi-user licenses are holding them back. So we're kind of doing it for them, and we're just going to get rid of multi-user licenses so they can break free from the chains and go. I don't think. That's not the case. I think it's just life. I've got 150 network licenses, but then I bought a Vred standalone because Vred network was expensive. It was outrageously expensive, and I just wanted it for me. That's not really how that panned out. But anyway, that was another statement, and that was fair enough. It said, look, when subscription launched, most people went towards single user rather than multi-user, which is an interesting metric. So this is regards to how many people are using a network license. I can't repeat the question that I asked because the question that I asked contained sensitive information. But Carl also says the data that we have says there are an average of 2 users per multi-user license. Some people have less, some people may have more. but we have looked at this across multiple customer sizes and cohorts, and that's why we set the trade-in at 2 for 1. Administrators may have the ability to unname one user and swap out for another on demand if they need to move users' licenses around. So in a way, this is almost like Autodesk conceding in a way that in the short term there is going to be a lot of additional overhead placed on the CAD administrators, in that they're going to have to juggle licenses around those teams where they were floating licenses. Kind of means that there is no there's going to be a lot of additional IT resource wasted by this move. Yeah, we're not going to have network license managers anymore in this modern day. No reasonable company should be buying a physical server to put their licensed software on. It was a 6 megabyte download. You shouldn't be buying a physical server for that, for many reasons. You would tend to put it on an existing server, a Vault server, email server, something that was already there. You weren't allowed to put it on a virtual server. Everybody did. So you could spin up a virtual server and put it on that. So removing the license model doesn't and won't free up any IT resource, really. And like I said, I spend an hour a year managing my network licenses, so removing the model isn't going to free up any time or money for me in my company. But by the sounds of it, it's going to add a lot of time wasted by managing users. There are other concerns. There'll be tons more concerns around this. All kinds of questions will spawn up, ones that I can't think of right now. I mean, off the top of my head, privacy issues possibly. You now have to give your entire company roster to Autodesk. You have to name and give the email address to everybody to Autodesk. That's going to raise eyebrows. I mean, it's Autodesk. It's Autodesk. I mean, they're not like dodgy or anything, but it's still giving out all of that information. There's also the fact that these named user licenses require like a regular internet ping. I don't know off the top of my head what that ping is. It could be ping every 30 days just to validate that the license is still there, how many times it's been used. What about government sites? What about the likes of China, where they don't have, some sites in China don't have internet access? Speaking from experience, because I've got a site which they've got virtual clients that have no internet access on them whatsoever. How do we do that? I don't know. I just don't know. How do we do deployments now? I know there is a new deployment mechanism being rolled out. How does that fit in for larger sites? I just don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions, really, which is just going to have to come out in the wash. I guess what most people need to know is you do have to get your renewals in first time between May 7th and May 6th, 2021. Take advantage of the 2 for 1 and lock that price in for 8 years. Look at the plans, talk to your reseller. Don't be aggy with them. They had no say in this. They'll be as panicky and as flappy as you are. That's all there really is to it. I'm looking at this in a positive light. I mean, for example, my company, I don't know, I've been waffling for however many minutes, so I'm still waffling. But like my company, we use network licenses in the wrong way. Always have done. We bought more network licenses than we had people. We had 80 inventor licenses, but maybe only 70 or 65 engineers. We've got 150 or 110 something like that Vault licenses to cover maybe 90 to 100 people who might use Vault. It was just so that we could just fire out as many desktops as we want, and there was always just enough licenses to cover people. I didn't have to worry about activations and all that kind of stuff. It just worked. License server, issuing licenses. It was easier than serial numbers, activation codes that kept breaking. Back in the olden days, the old serial number activation routines were terrible. So network licenses were the way forward back then. For me, personally, for my company, it's probably a good thing as long as it doesn't put too much time onto me in the long run. If single sign-on is accessible and affordable and the Active Directory integration works. I've also seen the provider that they're using. They seem to claim that they're legit and quite reputable, and it's going to go down well. We'll see. So yeah, I'm positive and upbeat about it, but at the same time, kind of still a bit sad that it's going. There are some of Autodesk licenses which will still remain on network licenses. So eventually they will all go. There's like some network rendering cluster servers, like I think Vred has a network farm cluster node which needs network licensing. I think there's some other niche bits of software that'll still have to be on network licensing for the meantime. But every bit of CAD software, every sort of hero product or vertical, they'll all go onto named user access. Right? I think I have to call it. My voice is starting to break, and it's 1:30 in the morning. So let's do this. I'm kind of hesitant because I'm not sure if I've mentioned everything. There's been so much information just rattled about over the last couple of weeks. I'm just not sure if I've mentioned everything. I'm going to have to just call it there. If there's anything that I forgot to mention, I'll put it in the pinned comment under the video. Thanks to Andrew for editing that marketing video, by the way. Thanks, mate. Honestly, the main body of this video was going to be me ripping that marketing video to shreds, because there was about 20 seconds worth of statements which were absolutely hilariously disingenuous and just frankly bollocks. Absolutely bollocks. So I got in touch with Andrew and I was like, mate, you can't say this to your customers. This is just, what are you talking about here? You can't say that. And I mean, Andrew was just like, give us a bit of back and forth. Some of the points was like, yeah, that's fair enough. Some of the points was like, oh, actually, we meant this. I started recording this video, got about half an hour into it, fired up the marketing video, and I was like playing through it, and I was like, where's the bits I'm meant to be ripping apart? Where's it gone? And I had to start the entire video again because it just completely threw me off track. I appreciate that. But it is good. That's good. That is a sign of the current Autodesk, that they're willing to listen to feedback and make a change when someone tells them, hey, that was stupid. I don't want to repeat what was in the original video because it was stupid. And to repeat it would be unfair to just say what they've taken out. So fair play to Autodesk, fair play, Andrew. Well done for taking that out. And my voice, I sound like a frog, right? I'm gonna on the end there. Thanks a lot. Good luck with all your trade-ins and that over the next year. Like I say, get in touch with your reps and your resellers to get this all ironed out. And I'll see you in the next one. Toodaloo.